Good evening and thanks for joining us for 23 ABC News at 5. I'm Bayan Wang. Jessica Harrington has the night off. Tonight's top stories as you get ready to head out the door for New Year's celebrations. Don't forget to make plans to get home. Details on what you need to know to get a safe ride. Plus, Dustin's Diner presents a check to the Bakersfield Homeless Center. Details on how much they raised this year. 23 ABC News at 5 starts right now. Good evening. We are nearing closer and closer to saying goodbye.
23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. We are nearing closer and closer to saying goodbye to this decade and ringing in 2020. Many will be watching the ball drop in New York from the comfort of their homes, but many others getting ready for big parties around town, part of the planning, transportation after all this celebrating. 23 ABC's Alex Bell joins us in studio with more on what you need to know about getting a ride from a ride-share vehicle or a taxi. Alex?
Today we asked Facebook followers how they're going to get home tonight, but oddly enough, everyone is staying in, myself included. And according to a poll on our Facebook, 90% of people voted that they are actually staying in, and only 10% said that they're actually going out. And when I hit the streets of Bakersfield today, most people said that they're staying in too.
My New Year's Eve plans are basically not to do anything.
Staying in this New Year seems to be trending this year.
You know, for New Year's, we're just happy to stay home.
Most residents tell me they are opting for a comfy night in rather than hitting the streets.
We are going to stay home tonight and probably get sushi to go and just sit on the couch and watch a movie.
Other residents say they want to stay away from drunk drivers.
I'm honestly always worried about that, but definitely tonight more than other nights.
In 2018, there were 4,300 DUI arrests, according to the Mad Bakersfield website. That totals to more than 11 DUI arrests per day.
You never know. You go out there are crazy people who shouldn't be on the road, and they are.
Opting for a safer ride with Uber or Lyft could cost you some money this New Year's, too. Tonight, ride-goers can expect surge pricing from companies like Uber and Lyft. Surge pricing is when rider demand is higher than driver availability. Prices automatically increase based on demand. Lyft confirmed they have no cap on their surge pricing. Uber did not respond in enough time for air.
And a Lyft and Uber driver also told us that they're not working tonight and decided to stay in because of drunk drivers. So you guys be safe out there and have a good New Year. But for now, live in studio, I'm Alex Bell for 23 ABC News, connecting you.
All right, thanks for that, Alex. During the New Year's celebrations, CHP is reminding drivers to buckle up and avoid distractions while behind the wheel. For this New Year's Day maximum enforcement period, CHP will use all available units shortly after 6 tonight until 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. CHP will target impaired drivers, but officers will also watch for distracted driving, speeding, and seatbelt violations. According to CHP data, during the 2018 New Year's enforcement period, at least 25 people were killed and 270 others were injured in collisions involving impaired drivers on California roads. And if you're planning on heading out tonight and don't want to drive, you might want to consider turning to AAA. The company is offering its Tipsy Tow service for the 24th year in a row. AAA officials say you should exhaust all other options before you plan on using it.
There are some restrictions to using the Tipsy Tow program. Callers should keep in mind that this service excludes rides for passengers. It is just a one-time, one-way ride for the driver of a vehicle and a tow for their vehicle for up to 7 miles. Any additional mileage, then the driver should expect to pay the tow contractor's regular rate.
The service is only available from 6 p.m. today until 6 a.m. tomorrow. If you need to use Tipsy Tow, call the number on your screen. And there are plenty of celebrations happening around town as we ring in a new decade and a new year. One of those places hosting a party is The Mark, and 23 ABC's Austin Westfall joins us live from there now with more on what's happening tonight. Austin.
The Mark's already preparing for their New Year's Eve celebration. Bayan, they've got the balloons out. It's going to be a 1920s themed celebration complete with jazz music. It's actually starting right now. People can come over and start eating now, but I'm joined now by Brian. Brian, you're the owner Off the Mark, thank you for joining us. Can you give me a rundown of what's going to be happening at tonight's 1920s themed event?
Yeah, so tonight we're doing a 1920s themed event down here at the Mark, 1623 19th Street, downtown. We're doing a Roaring 20s themed party. It'll start at 9 o'clock, and it contains appetizers. We'll have an appetizer station. Servers will be walking around passing out appetizers. Champagne pour at midnight. Live band from 10:15 to 12:45 when we do last call.
Yeah. And can you tell me why, because this is the first time you've held an event of this caliber, why do you think it's important to hold a celebration, a community celebration here on New Year's Eve?
Well, bringing in the 20s, the 2020s, we're going back to 1920, kind of 100 years ago when Prohibition was kind of in and going on. We're gonna kick it off with celebrate it with drinking some alcohol tonight and having a good celebration with a 1920s theme.
Yeah. Can anybody come out, or do you have to have a reservation to show up tonight?
So we're getting close to capacity. We do have no more dinner reservations tonight available, but we do have reservations available for the party specifically. It's $25 cover charge. Like I said, that covers your appetizers, your champagne pour at midnight, and your entrance to the event. You can call down to the restaurant, 322-7665, to place the order for that.
Great. Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely.
And Happy New Year. If you want to come out to the Mark, come out anytime. You can show up. There's expected to be upwards of 100 people out here tonight. There's also several other events going on around Kern County tonight, including one at the Padre. There's one over at the Crystal Palace. If you want this full list, you can go to our website, turn23.com. And I just want to relay one more message that you talked about, Brian, and that BPD is talking about, and that CHP is talking about. Party, but party responsibly. For now, at the Mark, Austin Westfall, 23 ABC, connecting you.
Yeah, Austin, got to make sure everyone gets a safe ride home. But now let's take a look at a live look at Times Square, where the ball is set to drop in about 4 hours. More than 1 million people expected are expected to be in the Big Apple, and more than 1 billion are expected to watch. But for some across the world, 2020 is already here. ABC's Trevor Ault takes us around the globe from New York.
The clock is ticking down to the end of the decade. In just hours until the ball drops in New York City, thousands have already descended on Times Square.
The ball drop, the celebration, the euphoria, the songs, the singing, the dancing, just it's like a real big party.
It's just wonderful. I tell everybody they should experience it at least once.
As the finishing touches are made here, on the other side of the world, it's already 2020. In Thailand, a massive fireworks display lighting up the Bangkok sky as revelers looked on. Happy New Year! In China, a light show capping off cheerful celebrations in Beijing. More than 1 million people heading to Australia's Sydney Harbour. Its fireworks show continuing in spite of the country's ongoing battle with wildfires. In the U.S., as millions gear up to party, law enforcement is stepping up security. The NYPD will be working in conjunction with the FBI and Homeland Security. In Times Square alone, there will be thousands of officers on hand alongside weapons and canine teams. And this year, for the first time, drones will also be used for surveillance purposes.
We'll have intelligence officers out there, as well as patrol officers, emergency service units, and then as well with our federal and state local partners.
The NYPD chief says the Times Square ball drop is going to be the most well-policed, protected event on Earth, part of those ongoing efforts to end this year and start next year the safest way possible. Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
Well, everyone in New York did look to be bundled up, maybe a few jackets, a hat, and even a scarf, and they're going to need it because right now 44 degrees in New York City, and in the Midwest, Chicago at 29, but relatively warm on the West Coast. So for us here in Bakersfield right now, we are tracking those temperatures in the mid-50s. That's slightly warmer than this time yesterday. We are going to be seeing those passing clouds, so we should be seeing clear skies as we head into 2020. But as for temperatures this evening, going to be dipping down to 44 degrees by 10 p.m. here in Bakersfield. That means when the ball drops, right around that temperature. So overnight lows in those 40s, a high of 60 degrees on New Year's Day, but we are tracking the potential for some early morning fog. I have more details on that coming up next.
As we ring in the new year, we have a programming alert for you. On New Year's Day, our morning shows will be slightly different. On Wednesday morning, 23 ABC News will air from 4:30 a.m. until 6 a.m. Then Good Morning America will air from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. Immediately after, we will kick off coverage of the 131st Annual Tournament of Roses Parade. And following the parade, it will be football. Coverage of the Citrus Bowl begins at 10 a.m. The Michigan Wolverines are battling against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Because of that, we will not have a newscast at 11 a.m., but you can tune in to all of the latest stories later that night on 23 ABC News at 5, 6, and 11. And this weekend will mark 6 months since the community of Ridgecrest and Trona were rocked by 2 powerful earthquakes. Many people in those small communities are still trying to pick up the pieces and rebuild after a 6.4 and 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit the area back in July. So 23 ABC will be airing a special 30-minute newscast as we talk with residents in Ridgecrest and Trona, hear from seismology experts, and talk to Bakersfield officials about preparedness here. Join us for that 23 ABC special this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. For the past couple weeks, B has been serving cookies and hot chocolate while the community also got to enjoy the light display in the Haggin Oaks neighborhood. Today, Dustin's Diner paying forward to the Bakersfield Homeless Center.
I think it's been a really big contribution to the Bakersfield Homeless Shelter. I mean, we raised almost $21,000 this year, so it's really big to see the kind of impact and what it can help in the Bakersfield Homeless Shelter. Like I said, it's been around since I was little, and it's great to see the same families come back year after year just to try to help and do whatever they can to help the Bakersfield Homeless Shelter.
Volunteers with Dustin's Diner stopped by the center to present a check to Executive Director Lewis Gill, totaling more than $21,000. The money is raised during the month of December in Haggin Oaks, with people serving up treats while people drive through the area checking out the lights. The diner has been operating for more than 25 years and has raised $180,000. And you have a chance to give your input on how homelessness may be affecting your community. In just over a week, the city will be hosting another meeting to talk about the issue. The third community outreach meeting will be held next Tuesday at the Mechanics Bank Convention Center at 6 p.m. The public is invited to attend. This comes after 2 previous community meetings that were held earlier this month. Coming up on 23 ABC News at 5, the U.S. Embassy in Iraq stormed by hundreds of Iraqi protesters. What U.S. officials are saying about this attack. Plus, multiple arrests made in Fresno regarding a shooting that happened